So now that I have like a secret lab of Gen Z thinking, I've been reading more of the clips that you've been putting into the Signals newsletter. And rather than just kind of absorbing them, I've been questioning them a little.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading whatever the other one, the last one was, and I found myself thinking about shopping
Mm-hmm.
and realizing that the thing that you posted about people waiting on lines, Gen Z, what made not one iota of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
In any universe, I couldn't understand that. But I've seen the phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got like when it was a spot sale or something very like, when it was something very rare. But
Yeah,
like, but I mean, are you a line waiter?
100%. And I think it's largely because of what the up and up kind of detailed, which is to me it does exist as this interesting third space where it's like you go and you have this like large community with you all kind of going towards the similar experience. So like in New York for people who are living here right now, like one really great example of that is like Mimi's like frozen ice cream, whatever. Like people are waiting in long lines. I waited in a line for an hour and a half to get frozen ice cream, I think, a week ago. So I think that it's just a really interesting kind of Gen Z experience and something that we're craving. Because yes, you can go on Amazon, you can order pieces of clothing. Yes, you can go to the store and get, like Ben and Jerry's, but it's when you go and engage in something that I think so many other people want to engage with, you become a part of that community and a part of that dialogue. And being a part of that dialogue makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. And I think that that's something that Gen Z has really leaned into rather than leaned away from.
I feel like I know you reasonably well for a couple of years. And if you'd said when I asked that question, absolutely not, I am not a line person, I would have, that was what I was expecting you were going to say. But like, so do you have to go with friends? Is it a social?
To me, it's a social event. So it like I would not I guess I should put an asterisk and put like I would not wait in line alone. If I were waiting alone, I'd be calling people and trying to make it more social. I usually it is very social to me. So it's like especially when you have the internet, things go viral and they can be trending really quickly. So therefore you create this buzz and this scarcity specifically for like frozen custard. I think that's again the example I can think of because it's top of mind. I think that you want to lean into that virality and you want to be a part of that current moment. And so you kind of mobilize your friends, you go with people, you make the waiting into a long thing. Like I was waiting in line with my boyfriend for a Noah Kahan concert for merchandise for I think an hour and a half, almost 2 hours long, and people were playing the heads up game waiting in line. So it's kind of become this social little experiment and this social experience in general, and that I find really intriguing. But I think honestly, the more time that I spend online for work or with my advocacy, the more I'm willing to go out and spend, an hour being a part of this larger experience and a part of this dialogue that makes me feel, again, like you're kind of existing within this third space.
So I had tickets to the fireworks in New York,
Hmm.
and we went out and had dinner, and then we went to get online, and the line was so long, so massive that it was absolutely clear that most of the people online were not going to get in.
Yeah.
And I've been at things where people like they come and say, everyone from here on,
Hmm.
we're just letting you know all these people are not. But like, I mean, we did not wait online. But like, um, I would much rather be in a coffee shop or a bar talking to my friends than like, yeah, no, like to me, I have a system for never waiting online, actually.
Hmm.
Um, I mostly never do. Um, but so first of all, most important question of this entire pod, how was the custard?
Oh, delicious. I forget the name of the one that I went to, but it was this blue window. And it was special for that one day. It was mango sticky rice custard or like frozen yogurt. Delicious. Again, I think that, I would wait in line for 2 or 3 hours for a good frozen custard or ice cream. I have a sweet tooth when it comes to that, but two thumbs up.
So let's broaden it to shopping in general, because on one hand, you've got fast fashion and the fact that somehow or another, Amazon now delivers it in an hour. There's this weird,
Yeah.
pay an extra $2 and it comes essentially before you click,
Yeah.
and then, I know a lot of Gen Z friends who are very into thrifting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like where for you, what's I need it now versus I want something that's environmentally sensitive?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'd say because of the people I surround myself with and because of the advocacy work that I've done and the communities that are kind of tangential to mine, I try to stay as eco-conscious and eco-friendly as possible. So, and I also think that, thrifting has taken its own, contour and kind of experience. So thrifting has become a pastime for a lot of people. People find it super fun to go. Again, it's a community event. It can be, again, like a third space. People go with their friends, spend hours searching for like the right piece. Also, again, you get the benefit of feeling like you are doing something better for the environment rather than going out and buying pieces. But for me, I think I try to be as environmentally friendly as I possibly can, with a caveat knowing that there will be things that need to come sooner rather than later, and I might have to engage in, a little bit more a environmentally friendly activities and behavior. For instance, I think one great example is I had just finished an amazing book about a few weeks ago. And I really desperately wanted the second book to kind of continue to ride the wave of the novel that I and the storyline that I was reading. So I was gonna go on Amazon and I was gonna go purchase it and get it the next day. And then I realized I was like, you know what? I'm scrappier than this. Again, like I talk about this all the time. Gen Z is a very scrappy generation. I think that we genuinely care about so many different things and are willing to kind of chart a different path if it means getting to a better outcome. So for me, I said to myself, let me call the nearest thrifted bookstore and an antique store and see if they have it. And lo and behold, they had an almost perfectly intact copy. So I think again, it depends on the need of the item. But for me at least, and for a lot of my Gen Z friends, we opt to be more environmentally conscious and turn it into an actual activity and social event like thrifting or like going out to a used bookstore.
That's a great story. By the way, can you tell us what the book is, or is it a
Oh my gosh. It's called so it's a really famous series called A Court of Rose and Thorns. It's just fiction. It's like it's a good summer read. But I was looking for A Court of Mist and Fury. It's just again like a fiction series.
So I've been involved in all these debates about AI and writing, and it turns out there's this massive machine of kind of writers who are now manufacturing romance novels
Hmm.
at scale. Like
Yeah.
one person had written 300 this year.
Hmm.
And there was this great big debate about whether or not, did it count if it wasn't written by a human? And what I found myself wanting to say, it was online, so I wasn't talking to people, but it was like, you know, if at the end of the day, readers enjoy the reading and
Hmm.
AI can replicate a certain cadence in a way that's pleasurable, I'm not sure you're going to get readers to buy into the written by humans movement. I just,
I actually disagree with that. At least from my community surrounding me, I'm surrounded by people in MFA programs, so obviously they're going to be pro, write it yourself and be the human to produce the novel. But I've seen a general just pro-human pushback against a lot of things related to AI right now, whether it's data centers, whether it's, um, writing. I think a lot of people are um I think a lot of people are becoming more humanistically kind of conscious. At least from my sense and from a lot of the work that I do, I especially when it comes to reading things, I think it's acceptable, especially depending on how you annotate or how you note that you've utilized AI. Look, if you want to go, especially with romance novels, like every like it's basically the same equation over and over again. So like if you want to have AI help you write that novel, that's totally fine with me as long as you note that that was utilized in the process, because I think that you should be able to give people the option to opt out, especially if people don't necessarily want to be reading something that wasn't produced by a human. I especially I was just reading a piece, and I think I'd sent it to you about how certain chatbots are not allowing individuals to reproduce works in the tone of certain authors.
Yes, yes.
Which again, I think that that's also very nefarious to me. Like I really get icked out by the idea of saying to ChatGPT, give me a new poem written like Edgar Allan Poe, but
Yeah.
about, the modern times. Like again, I think that there's something
That's just creepy. That's
it,
just
it's
creepy.
creepy. To me, it's creepy, and I that kind of the creepiness goes into the writing realm and that discussion for me because I find it creepy to be reading something, in my opinion, that was not, produced by a human for a human. I think that there's something super artistic and beautiful, and maybe that's because I was in the arts world and musical theater for so long, but I think that there's something so spectacularly human about just writing pieces yourself.
I was walking back to the house this afternoon and I put on Spotify, and Spotify decided, without me asking it, that
Mhm.
what I really wanted was an AI DJ that
I love
introduced itself as an AI DJ
Mhm.
in this kind of like urban voice caricature, and then started telling me about the songs it had picked for me
Yeah.
based on the fact that it had read my playlist from a year ago. And I
hmm
thought, this is creepy on so many levels.
hmm
Like a robot pretending to be a human, creepy. B, you're reading my former songs and deciding what I should listen to, creepy.
hmm
And then pretending that it was a fake hip robot. It really, I was like, somebody at Spotify just made a terrible mistake.
I actually push back against that too.
Go
I
ahead.
think I think the area that I find similarly creepy is the anthropomorphication, or I don't know what the right word is, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
anthropomorphizing of the voice. I utilize one way AI interacts in my daily life is through the AI DJ on Spotify. I use it every day in, day out. It knows me well. It knows my study music. It knows my because I'm a huge music fan. So it knows my catalog and interests very, very well and feeds me new songs that I actually really enjoy. But to your point, I would like to not have it act like it's a human and my friend. So I think that there is a line that it's crossed. I think the service it provides is very unique and interesting, but it didn't need to. I like your urban caricature. It didn't need to pretend to be yo yo yo, I'm DJ X. Like it
yeah.
doesn't need that to still have the same, kind of teeth behind the service that it does and just provides its users.
So Amazon Alexa in the new version, which I've since removed, will say, "Hey Steve, I've noticed you've not listened to a lot of music lately. Can I give you a free subscription to Amazon Music?" And I'm like, "I listen to music all the time. I just don't listen to your shitty product." So
hmm
really, it's a salesperson
Yeah.
impersonating my friend.
hmm
So that creeps me out. And then in the other creepy AI things of the day, um, Barnes and Noble announced today. It's kind of not official yet, but it's been kicking around various blogs and Reddit, that they're no longer going to allow local authors to give book talks at the stores.
Why would that be?
Well, they say the smaller stores don't have room and people put tables near the front and it blocks traffic flow. But really, I think if you read the subtext of it, it really doesn't sell books. I mean,
hmm
you know, the thing about Amazon is they can have a gazillion books that each sell two copies, and they don't
Yeah.
care because they're not stocking anything.
Yeah.
Um, but for Barnes and Noble, where every square inch is precious, the SKUs are where all of the money is. The idea of having someone come in to pitch their, you know, either personally written and self-published romance novel just doesn't move the needle.
Yeah.
And but I just think I think they're misunderstanding the social aspect of what makes a bookstore a bookstore. Um,
Exactly.
um, yeah, no, I think that will go down. I think that will be. I think they'll roll that one back. Would be my guess.
Mm.
Because everyone in my little book community is just incredibly outraged about.
Yeah,
Um,
understandably so.
but I also think there are a lot of authors who talk about having book signings and showing up either at a local bookstore or at a library or whatever, and and no one shows up.
Yeah.
And that those are just sad.
Hmm.
It's like I sat there for 2 hours and nobody came to my table. Ouch.
Hmm.
Um, but putting a sign in the window at Barnes and Noble does not, in and of itself, get you a crowd of local book readers.
No, no, I think that honestly, you have to. I think to be able to sell a book nowadays, like you have to, and it's like it's with anything nowadays, in order to sell a book, to become elected, to do X, Y, and Z, you have to be able to utilize the online world to create buzz and to create, notoriety. Which I think is difficult because I think some authors don't want to be public figures, but to be able to really sell your book, like you have to be a public figure and you have to be able to be I always say like your biggest advocate. So I think, I think one of the reasons why the book that I was reading is so popular is because that author and specifically the fandom that loves the book has created like online communities and spaces to talk about the dialogue. And I think that you have to kind of allow your book to live on in the online world if you want it to do well in the real world.
It's a little sad though, because if you go back and not very long into history, some of
Mhm.
the greatest writers of the last 100 years or further, were incredibly insular, private
Yep.
people who sat over a typewriter or a yellow notepad and a pencil and wrote books, but didn't want to be out glad handing or posting or making buzz. And I mean, look, when I sold my last book, the first question publishers asked me is, how big is your platform? Like
Yeah.
how many subscribe? And they would say, how big is your mailing list? That was
Hmm.
always, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little antiquated, but I understand the question.
Yeah. Well,
And
now with
and
the resurgence of Substack, it kind of is an interesting, new discussion.
or book talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I know a bar, a friend of mine owns a bar, and the first question he asks bartenders before he hires them is, how many followers do you have?
Wow. Yeah.
And he wants you to be able to say to your community, hey, I'm switching to this new bar. It's
Hmm.
really cool. Come on by and I'll make you a drink. And I was like, bartenders have fans?
Hmm.
I guess they do. Um, all right. Well, this has been fascinating. Where's the custard? Is there still a line or is it gone?
You know what? I'd say to anyone who wants to figure out what the new buzzer trend is, you got to go onto TikTok or you got to go on Instagram and look at these amazing like ice cream shops. Specifically, Cafe Pana has always had super long lines because they daily come out with new kind of like new major items. So there's always something for everyone. I highly suggest it, no matter where you are, even if it's not New York, to go get frozen custard.
Buzzy ice cream. All right. Well, this has been great. Thank you I would have, if you'd made me bet whether you were going to be pro or anti-line, I would have gotten it entirely wrong.
Well, Steve, I grew up going to Disney World, so you gotta learn to love the line somewhere.
I would just buy the ticket that got the extra line cutting feature.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. See you next week.